The Galactic Council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Zethkar's words echoed through the crystalline dome. 347 species had voted. The result was unanimous, minus one abstention. Earth was to be exiled. Human Ambassador Sarah Chen sat motionless in her delegation section, her dark eyes scanning the sea of alien faces that surrounded her. Some looked apologetic, others relieved, and a few seemed almost fearful. She understood why. The human species has demonstrated patterns of behavior incompatible with galactic civilization, Zethkar continued, his forearms gesturing dramatically. Their expansion rate exceeds all safety protocols. Their military capabilities grow at an alarming pace. Most concerning, they refuse to abandon their primitive concepts of individual rights and democratic governance. A ripple of agreement passed through the chamber. The hegemony of Voss nodded their crystalline heads in unison. The collective of merged minds pulsed their approval through shared consciousness. Even the normally neutral keepers of ancient law clicked their mandibles in concordance. Sarah stood slowly, her movement drawing every eye in the vast chamber. When she spoke, her voice carried clearly through the translation matrices. "We understand," she said simply. "When do we need to leave?" The simplicity of her response seemed to catch the council off guard. They had prepared for protests, for desperate pleas, for the typical political maneuvering that characterized most species when faced with exile. They hadn't prepared for acceptance. Zethkar's scales shifted to a confused purple hue. The exile period begins in one standard galactic year. All human settlements, stations, and vessels must withdraw beyond the Outer Rim territories. Sarah nodded once. "Thank you for the timeline." She gathered her materials, stood, and walked toward the chamber's exit. At the threshold, she paused and turned back. "For what it's worth, we're not angry. We understand your decision." Her lips curved into something that might have been a smile. "But you should understand ours as well." The chamber doors sealed behind her with a soft hiss. 11 months later, Commander Yexhai of the Galactic Enforcement Division received a priority transmission that made his blue blood run cold. "Sir," his communications officer reported, her voice trembling, "long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures from human space. They're moving everything." Yexhai's four eyes focused on the tactical display. What he saw defied every assumption the Council had made about human capabilities. Entire orbital installations were being packaged into massive transport containers. Planetary infrastructure was being systematically dismantled and loaded onto ships the size of small moons. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. "Commander," another officer called out, "we're receiving reports from our border stations. Human vessels are requesting passage, but they're not heading toward the Outer Rim territories." "What do you mean?" "They're leaving the galaxy entirely, sir. All of them." The tactical display updated, showing the impossible scope of humanity's exodus. 17 billion humans, their entire technological base, their cultural artifacts, their very civilization, all of it moving in a coordinated migration that spanned dozens of star systems. "How is this possible?" Yexhai whispered. "The energy requirements alone." His science officer, a member of the notoriously precise analytical caste, looked up from her instruments with something approaching awe. "Sir, they've constructed what appears to be a series of linked stellar engines. They're using entire stars as propulsion systems to move their colony ships." The implications hit Yexhai like a physical blow. Stellar engineering on this scale required not just advanced technology, but a level of coordination and determination that suggested, "Get me the Council," he ordered. Immediately. The emergency session convened within hours, but by then it was too late to change anything. The human exodus was already well underway, and their parting message was broadcasting on all frequencies. Sarah Chen's image appeared on the main display, older now but with the same steady gaze that had unsettled the Council months before. "To the Galactic Council and all member species," she began, "we want to thank you for your clarity. Your vote showed us exactly where we stood, and more importantly, it freed us from the illusion that we belonged here." The image shifted to show the vast procession of human vessels, dark against the star field, moving with purpose toward the galactic edge. "You see, you made a fundamental error in your assessment. You assumed that exile was a punishment. For humanity, it was an opportunity." The view changed again, this time showing the construction of massive, impossible structures, entire worlds being built from raw matter. technologies that bent physics in ways that made the Council's greatest achievements look primitive. While you spent centuries perfecting your civilizations, your cultures, your stable societies, we spent our time preparing for exactly this moment. We've been planning to leave since the day we first looked up at the stars. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the council chamber. You offered us membership in your galactic community, and we accepted gratefully. But we also prepared for the day when that invitation might be withdrawn. Today we're not being exiled. Today we're going home, to a galaxy we'll build ourselves, with principles you've rejected and freedoms you fear. The image returned to Sarah's face, and now her smile was genuine, warm, and utterly terrifying in its implications. Thank you for the reminder that some species are meant to forge their own paths among the stars. The vote was indeed unanimous. You chose your galaxy and we chose ours. The transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. 3 days later, long-range sensors confirmed what everyone already knew but none wanted to acknowledge. Human space was empty. 17 billion souls had vanished into the cosmic dark, taking with them technologies and capabilities that the galaxy was only beginning to understand they had possessed. The last human message arrived a week after that. A simple star chart showing a distant galaxy, with coordinates and a single line of text. The door is always open, but next time, we'll be the ones voting. In the silence that followed, Ambassador Zethkar finally understood what Sarah Chen had meant about understanding humanity's decision. They hadn't just accepted exile. They had embraced it as liberation. And somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, humanity was building something the Council had never imagined possible. A civilization entirely their own, bound by no rules but those they chose to accept. The galaxy had voted to exile Earth. Humanity hadn't waited to be told twice.